might have changed that. Let's see. Japan, we know little about. Well, we've seen the faces before, most of them. They are familiar faces, and they are a strong team. I always thought they had very good players there at the top level in Japan. You know them better than I do, because you played against them in the Far East Championships a couple of times, I believe, or maybe even more than a couple of times.
Yes, I know some of them reasonably well, both the Far East Championships and the NEC, which of course is hosted in Yokohama. So I know some of the players there.
In the women's, it's not that exciting, really. If you look at the leaderboard in the women's, you'll see that it takes, well, a minor miracle for the first 8 now, not to be the first 8 when play finishes later today. Poland will have to do extremely well in 9th place, and England will have to do poorly. And they're up against, well, weaker opposition. So not likely that Poland will make it. I'm obviously thrilled on behalf of the Danish women. I mean, being 58 VPs ahead of 9th at this point with 3 matches to go, which means, yes, in theory, they can be knocked out, but in reality, it's impossible with 3 matches to go, 58 ahead. And maybe it is impossible mathematically because of the fixtures, you know. It could be that it's impossible. I haven't checked. But obviously, you'd like to finish first if you can, so you have the pick of your quarter-final opponent. Also, it's important, you know, when choosing your opponent in the quarterfinals, that you look at what kind of carryover can we get against the other teams.
Is this a situation where you get some percentage of your head-to-head result as carryover?
Exactly, yeah. If you defeated them in the round robin, you get more than if you lost against them. So in that respect, if Denmark finishes first, they will go for England, but that's not a certainty. They won comprehensively, 17.7 to, no, 17.3, I think, to 2.7. So that will give them an advantage. The maximum is 16 imps in the quarterfinals and semi-finals, and 20 in the final. Hello, good morning to Peter Crouch, south of London, someplace. Hi, Peter.
Hi Roland, hi Bill.
G'day, Peter.
Yeah, Peter made a point. We'll try to stick to bridge. I'm asked, can we be sure that Peter and Bill won't be talking rugby? We can't be sure, but we'll try to focus on the bridge. So, Bill, are you getting the card for Japan, perhaps?
Sure.
Yeah, the only thing I fear when watching Weinstein and Levin is, of course, that they open 2 diamonds, because then I'll just be speechless. Nothing to add. I'll leave that to my co-commentators if that happens. Thank you very much. Bill, are you saying you can't get to it?
I am, yes. The Japanese basically play standard methods. I don't actually know this pair at all, so we're going to have to deduce where appropriate, like this week too.
What about if we go to Tran's page? Is it pronounced Tran, by the way, or Trayan? You know.
Well, I say Trayan, and he hasn't ever corrected me.
Good. What if we go there? Should we try to see if we can get one? Let me try.
So a bit of a law of total trumps effort there by South. He's got 4 spades, so he just bids the 10-trick contract, fully expecting it to go down.
Here's the card,
East
Bill.
West can make
Here's the card, Bill. And Peter has it as well.
So East West can make 3 hearts, I think, on a diamond lead. But if they don't lead a diamond, can they make 4 hearts because they can set up a club?
Yeah, lead or switch, I guess. Assuming South is on lead.
I was wondering who was going to be on lead. Yeah, I suppose that's right. I think what you were saying was right, Bill. You know, South just boosts it. He's got no idea what East West can make, but he knows they can make something. So just bids game straight away and hope they can't double. And Levin's got a defensive hand, not short space, and he has a clear pass in my eyes.
Yes, the thing about the jump to game is that the opponents have no idea whether you're doing it as a sacrifice or to make. So it's preempts raise to game are very powerful tools because of their ambiguity. Only you know, not even your partner knows. Only you know for what reason you're bidding the game.
Yes, and if it always shows a 6-card suit, I think it's pretty normal to jump to 4 spades there. Wow, they were allowed to play in
The
three
card
spades.
seems to suggest it might be.
Mac in the other room just raised to three spades. So that was two imps.
I mean, if to be frank, if South only bid three spades, you must be tempted with the East cards to come back in with a double, or even come back in with four hearts.
Yeah, but that's also dangerous, Peter. You don't know what three spades is based on.
My experience has been that it's been generally right to bid in those auctions to the major, pass through the major if you have shortage. So this looks like a normal four spades for north-south.
Yes. Two clubs, a sound spade race. North can't quite jump to game, although he'll probably do it eventually. But going through two clubs first, then support spades to the four level shows a better hand, and he has a very good hand. Against your overcalls, Peter, I think two spades is plenty.
When you'll declare a row, then probably two spades is plenty as north.
Absolutely. Yep. Can I make this?
I don't know, Roland. I think Yoko can.
Exactly. What do I lose? Spade, heart, club. In fact, declarer can go for a safe over trick, can't he? It won't work, but he can do that without jeopardizing his contract.
Well, he can also make it 11 Roland on the Vienna coup.
Well, Weinstein is pretty much end played now anyway, to give declarer the over trick. He can cast the king of clubs, then we have the over trick. He can switch to a heart, then we have the over trick. And he can play a diamond, and then we have the over trick. So you don't need any...
If he plays king and another club, he still needs to... He hasn't got enough discards in hearts, so he'll still need to sort of play... unblock the ace of hearts and squeeze east in the red suits, won't he?
That's right. One discard doesn't have declarer. That's right.
Anyway, at this level, it's a pretty normal 11 tricks, I would say.
Weinstein realizes, of course, that partner can't have much here, but he can have a queen, the Queen of Hearts.
So I noticed this morning that Denmark are playing Australia in the Bermuda Bowl. Wouldn't that have been a nice match for you two to cover?
Yes, for Bill and me, yes, indeed it would. But they're not in contention, so maybe it wouldn't be that interesting after all. Denmark had to win against
Sure.
Sweden in the last.
Not on ViewGraph, is it? Surely.
No, I was just saying it was a shame, Bill. And then you two could have commentated on it.
Yeah.
Prefer this match, thank you, Peter.
Well, me too.
But if either of those two teams
had been in contention, yes, then it would have been different.
I was going to suggest if either of those two teams win really heavily, if they were to win their last 3 matches today heavily, I don't know who they're playing, either Australia or Denmark, they would still have an outside chance of qualifying, wouldn't they?
Yes, but it takes a miracle.
This is where they toss a coin at the start of the match privately, and whoever wins the toss, or whoever wins the toss, throws away imps and gives up a 20-0 blitz, so that at least one of the teams has a faint chance of qualifying.
Yes, from Denmark's point of view, I'm just, happy that it isn't cricket. Or rugby, for that matter. I don't think we'll stand a chance there. I know we wouldn't. Badminton, however, I think we can defeat you, Bill. Easily. Maybe you don't play badminton.
Isn't that a national sport in Denmark, handball?
Yeah. Absolutely. And then we would beat Australia by around 40. Yes, it is a national sport, indeed. Not played much in Australia.
Well, not at all as far as I know, although I think in the Sydney Olympics we may have had a team, since the home team, I think always, the home country, the hosting country, I think is allowed to play. I think we might have had a team, but as far as I know the game's not played at all in Australia. You might know better, Roland.
It is played, and they did participate in almost all World Championships.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, same with
Go Aussie.
Same with England in 2012 in London, where they also had a handball team, and they lost by, can't remember how much, but they just lost heavily every single match. Do you remember that, Pete? They were thrashed. They don't play handball in England. Well, not seriously, really.
Well, Einstein seems to be in a coma here.
Yes, could have been me at this hour. Even worse for Peter, of course. He's 1 hour behind me, so 6:45 for him. But it isn't. It's Weinstein trying to find a way to defeat this contract. It will take a while. course, South
This
could be
is a point at which...
partner
Sorry, Roland.
Yeah, I was just saying that, of course, Declarer could be weaker for his one-spade overcall. So he's trying to see, is there any chance, if he doesn't have the king of diamonds? So much for your squeeze, Peter.
Well, it'd be pretty, wouldn't it, Ryan? This sort of Vienna coup. And blocking the ace of hearts and coming down to that position, that sort of appeals to me.
Yep, yep.
Well, this looks like a 3-no trump contract to me. 2 spades. I mean, if we remember the first board when he had a 6-card spade suit and the convention card said 5. Well, here's an example. And maybe they just opened 2 spades with 5 at favourable vulnerability in first or third seats. It's interesting to see that South opened 2 spades here, but at the other table, Mextroff passed his South.
They must be getting old.
Maybe he thinks it's too good for a green preempt.
Maybe. Do we know what 3 diamonds was? Maybe it showed 5 spades. How many spades did he promise when he opened 2? 5 or 6, presumably.
Only 5, Roland, and the card seems to suggest that 3 clubs is a 6-card suit and 3 diamonds is a 5-card suit over 2-no trumps. I can't be certain of that, but that's my reading of the convention card.
Yeah, that was my reading as well, Peter. Exactly that.
So here with the hearts breaking 3-3, there should be 12 tricks for Declarer.
Yeah, hearts 3-3, and the ace of spades on. He has 12 tricks after the diamond lead. 2 spades, 2 diamonds, 5 hearts, and 3 clubs.
I'm being asked by a spectator if the diamond lead was a bad lead, and I've just said no, it just didn't work on this hand.
just a normal lead, isn't it?
I mean, did you talk yesterday, Ron, about one of the strangest results in the Bermuda Bowl? United Arab Emirates beating USA1?
We did. They won by 13, didn't they? I think so. That was a shocker. And we were talking about, could it be complacency that they let Meckwell sit out?
Well, maybe they were just looking at matches they felt Meckwell might need a rest in, and that was one of them. But I mean, I was just thinking of how wonderful it was for United Arab Emirates, who is obviously struggling in this Bermuda Bowl, to be able to tell the story later about how they beat USA1.
Sweden had a good start. They're also in contention for a qualifying spot, right behind Japan. And they are up by 11 against Bulgaria. A very strong team. So don't rule them out. Very dangerous team, Sweden. Am I talking? Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Well, one of my faithful listeners, middle of the night for her, in Florida, asked me, are you talking?
So here East West has stolen the contract in One No Trump because North South can make space, but that might not be a good idea for them because they're vulnerable and they're going to be going a few down. I haven't quite worked out how many at this moment.
Yeah, I think probably 2 down. The defence taking 3 spades, 2 hearts, 2 diamonds and a club. 3, 5, 7, 8. That would be 2 down. It's going to go a minimum of 2 down, I think.
I'm just sort of wondering whether they might take more, Bill, if they don't split the suits for declarer. Let's say declarer wins and very badly placed it trick 2 when after they win the Queen of Spades. They're going to have to play something. And I think there's a possibility they might go more than 2 down.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think they'll play diamond at trick 2, perhaps. No, that's not any good. I don't know what they'll do. All suits are hopeless, aren't they? I take your point, Peter. 2 down at best.
Do you think he'll go after clubs? I mean, he needs to set up tricks.
Yeah. He might say, well, I'll take a spade and 3 clubs. That's a start. That's probably what he'll do, is just bang out the clubs.
One of the spectators is pointing out the auction at the other table, Roland, where you can see that South responded a spade to a take-out double by North of a club, and when Rodwell raised to two spades, South passed. Obviously, for that pair, the raise to two spades is purely a courtesy raise, promising no extras, just a fourth spade.
Yeah, not everyone's choice to double one club. You're too long in clubs. I don't mind.
People who would bid over two.
I don't mind if I were 4-4 in the majors, then I don't mind to have club length. But when I'm only 4-3, it's not obvious to double. Would you have?
No, I wouldn't have, Roland, either. I would have passed, but I know a lot of top players now are doubling with virtually any weak no trump that's got some length in both majors. But I think there's still quite a lot of people with the South cards after double pass, only bidding one spade, would still have made a move over a courtesy raise to two spades, do you think?
I do. And I also know some who would bid more than one spade. Jumping to 2, showing roughly 9 to 11, 9 to 12, with 4 plus spades. Probably exactly 4 spades, because you can jump to 3 spades if you have 5 of them.
I'm sure Peter Lund would be one of those. His take doubles have a lot of shape normally.
Yep.
Hi Bill, welcome back. We were just discussing the auction at the other table.
Yes, sorry, I dropped out. Yes, times have changed, haven't they? Back in the old days, North and South would have done no bidding, just like the Japanese pair did here. And these days, a lot of players, as you pointed out, including my partner, would definitely double with the North hand, but South knows about that and compensates by not jumping in response. And this is how Meckwell got to this sensible enough two-spade contract. They zigged and zagged appropriately because they know their own style.
Right. So for many people, a race to two spades, Bill, after a forced one spade response would show more values than North has. Like
yeah, absolutely.
1820. Yeah.
That's the 1970s way of bidding. I got crucified on an earlier commentary for making an old-fashioned comment, but that is exactly how it would have been bid in my youth. Well, there wouldn't have been a double, but if there had been a double, with any normal, no extra values double, you just pass one spade, and two spades shows a serious invite. Nowadays, it's all about messing with your opponent's auction. So you double lighter, and then your raise is not a game try. It simply says, congratulations, partner, I actually have 4 cards in that suit.
So on the defence here, the Japanese defenders would be better taking the last spade and just exiting with a club. But here they've switched to the diamonds, and I'm sure Levin will play low. So they've done some work for declarer. Certainly the best defence, cast the 4 spade, exit with a club, and let Levin sort himself out, basically.
Yes and no, because he can't really enjoy his diamonds and the queen of clubs. I mean, he has no entry. So they can recover, can't they? And deny him access to his hand.
What are you saying, Roland? He's only got access to that dummy.
I think with the hearts 3-3, Roland, he's going to get an extra trick anyway, isn't he? As long as he views the diamonds correctly.
Yes, they have to give him something. I agree. But isn't it funny? Well, Dummy has no entry. The Clara has no entry.
That can't be good.
No, I don't want to play this hand. You should also see the problem for the Clara. If now say he plays low now, and now Norse cashes the last spade, the 8 of spades. What on earth is West going to throw now? Can't throw.
Well, he has to throw a diamond, I guess, Roland.
He has to throw a diamond, yeah.
Yes, and a heart from Dummy. And I think he'll still come back to, he'll get his 5 tricks. I think North-South will have to play red suit, and whichever one they play, they're going to concede a trick.
So now he has to throw a diamond, because if he doesn't, the defense can take 3 hard tricks. Maybe not so easy to see for them. The Norse can switch to the king of hearts then.
So, 2 imps back, squaring up the match.
Indeed. Now the scores have been corrected in the Sweden-Bulgaria match. It is 6-5 rather than 11-0. Bad for Sweden, but that's how it is.
Some quite crunch matches this round in the Bermuda Bowl, Roland. Brazil against the USA1. They're very close. I think they're in 6th and 7th position at the moment. A big win or big loss for either of those teams could be quite crucial.
Yep. And also Bulgaria-Sweden, of course. A crucial match. As is this one. Only 3 VPs separate the 2 teams here.
Right, Mech is back to his usual tricks. If you look at the auction at the other table.
One no trump. Yep. 14-16. Wouldn't be everyone's choice. But Yokoi did the same here.
Yeah, I think this is a good choice. 1 no trump, playing a natural system. I think the auction 1 club, 1 spade response by partner leaves you a little dissatisfied with your 2 club rebid, and 3 clubs would be far too much. So with the singleton king, I think this is a really good idea to just try and get the hand off your chest in one go and hope for the best.
Roland, I'm being asked for a link to the results. I'm sorry if you could, by spectators, if you could put one up. I don't have the link. And what I would say, Bill, about opening a no trump is I think that's fine against opposite a passed partner, but you wouldn't get me doing this if partner was an unpassed hand. I think there's just too much potential for the south hand for a slam, or even just playing the right game.
Wow. So I gave the link to the Bermuda Bowl, the direct link to the Bermuda Bowl. I could have given you the link to the results page, so you can choose to open all 3 windows for the Bermuda Bowl, Venice Cup and Seniors Bowl. Maybe I should give you that link as well. 1 second.
So here, Bill and Roland, do you think 2 hearts is like a Smolan bid, or do you think it's supposedly just both majors? I suspect it's Smolan, from the fact that North's got quite a reasonable hand opposite a strong no trump, and given that, South's bid 2 no trumps, and North has passed. That looks a weird auction to me. I'm sure if I was North, I'd have gone the whole hog and bid 3 diamonds. I mean, why is that? Why should you expect your partner to have 6 clubs and 3 diamonds as a percentage?
I think it is a 2-level Smolan to show 5 spades and 4 hearts. But I'm only guessing.
So the Kaplan evaluator has that at 15.5 points, that's hand. So I think even opposite an unpassed partner, I've actually think it's a very bad idea to open 6-card minor suits with 1 no trump most of the time. But this one didn't have any intermediate spot cards, and the singles and king is a minus value for suit play. So I don't know, Peter. I think it's acceptable, even taking your point about the risks of opening it when partner's unlimited. I think it's still a pretty reasonable description of the hand to open 1 no trump.
Yeah, but you must agree that opposite an unpassed partner, 1 no trump is a slam killer. In case you are right up there, maybe having slam values. You never.
Well, my point is that I want it to be a slam killer. I don't think the South hand's that good.
Well, I understand that, opposite a passed hand, but unpassed hand, I mean, you could have a slam one, why not?
Well, then it'll be partner's job to bid it, and I'll take no responsibility for a missed slam.
Oh, Bill, I mean, I think that's probably a bit unfair. I mean, partner could have, say, both major suit aces, queen to 4 clubs, and the king of diamonds. That's a flat 13 count. And slam's probably got quite a lot of play. Give him a jack of diamonds, and slam will be cold. And likely auction will be 1 no trump, 3 no trumps. So I'm with Roland. I mean, I don't mind opening a no trump on these cards opposite a passed partner for tactical reasons, but it's not my style. But I think, to be frank, I'm against the way the world's going. People are opening a no trump on all sorts of hands. I remember a match England were playing earlier in the event where I think it was a Singapore player opened a no trump with 5-4-2-2 with 5 spades and 4 hearts and got a very good result. They played 3 no trumps making when the normal 4 spade contract went down at the other table.
Well, I'm with you all the way on the comment. I think that it is being prostituted, the 1 no trump opening, and being bid with too many good hands. Our disagreement is simply a matter of judgment about how good the South hand is. Anyway, are they going to pick up a swing here? Is 2 no trumps going to make? It made at the other table.
Let's see.
I'm not sure this is a great lead for the defence.
I can count 7 tricks, and I think he'll be able to set up an 8.
He's now got 3 diamonds, Roland, on the lead.
7 of diamonds is a good card.
Yeah. If he has 3 diamonds, then he has 8 tricks, right? 3 diamonds, 2 clubs, and 3 hearts.
Yes, the
problem is that he can't do everything. You also play a diamond to the 7. Yeah, I see what you mean, Bill.
Well, that was Peter, but I think the defence have done the right thing by accident. They're attacking clubs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that gives them 6 tricks. If declarer simply tries to knock out both red suits, loses. I'll get 2 spades. Oh yeah, this will beat the contract, won't it, for sure.
Maybe he could try to play the king of spades. If, you know, if the defender doesn't have ace and queen, he may duck this.
I think that's unlikely, Roland, after he's discarded the spade from the dummy, with the ace of diamonds there.
Yeah. But I think it is difficult for him to come to 8 tricks, because he can't do everything. In theory, he has 3 diamonds and 3 hearts, but he can't take them. So I think Mech did quite well to get out for 1 down in 3 now. I haven't been through the play to see how they defended.
Looks like he set up the spades.
That would be a strange card, the king of clubs. You see, it's my day. I thought that he might play the king of spades.
Sorry, Mech didn't set up the spades. He sneaked a spade, and I think that was, and then he went back to the red suits.
Yeah. You know, with someone that plays the king of spades here from hand, he usually has the queen as well. So it's not obvious for Levin what to do now. Perhaps play Declarer for doubles and king-queen. But in that case, he can win it. No. It's better to duck. What does 2 heart mean? We're not sure. We're just guessing. Smolin at the 2 level. Normally you would jump to 3 hearts to show 5 spades and 4 hearts. If you play Smolin, if you're strong enough to force the game. It looks like the Japanese play the convention at the 2 level as well, after a 2 diamond response. But we're just guessing. So your guess is as good as ours.
Actually, we're not guessing, Roland. I checked their system card, and they do indeed play Smolin at the 2 level. It's specifically on the card.
Well, then I got lucky, because I was guessing. Ten of clubs by East, by the way, promises the Jack. They lead second through Declarer. Is this what he needed?
And Declarer's playing it nicely. He's actually playing a hold-up play in the clubs. And that will do it, I think. He knocks out the heart. The defence won't have a club to cash.
Nope. when West has the ace of hearts and only 3 clubs. I think he's good now.
It was tough, but Levin had to continue with the clubs. And if the 10 did promise the Jack, I really don't understand why he didn't continue with the clubs.
He did. From 10-9, they would play the 9, so it did promise the Jack.
Keeping people up to date with the results, current results in the open room, you can obviously look at the link that Roland put up earlier. But USA2 have started well against Brazil. I think they're 15 imps up at the moment, so good result for them so far. England have started well against Guadeloupe, which obviously we were hoping for. They're now up to 2nd in the table. They have to play Poland next, which will be a tough match.
Yep. And I believe Egypt, is it, in the last round? Not sure.
Yes, I think that's right, Roland. I mean, we'll hope, obviously, Egypt. Maybe it's not Egypt. I'll have to just check. Let me just check. The last match is Argentina, Roland. I've just asked Simon Cope, the England captain, who's in the audience. So hopefully for England, Argentina will not be that tough. They're not doing that well at the moment.
Now, Peter and Bill, how many spades would you bid with the West hand, Val against not, over 1 heart?
2 for me at this vulnerability. Actually 2 for me if I was vulnerable, full stop. 3 if I'm non-vulnerable.
Well, there are six winners, we hope, so I agree with the 2 bid.
And here's the compromise, 1. In the other room, West didn't bid because South opened a strong club.
That seems a bit strange to me, Roland. I mean, you're more likely to bid, aren't you, over a strong club than you are over heart?
Yeah.
I've got a lot of time for Levin's compromise there, and perhaps I should have thought about it myself. Sometimes when you want to bid, but you're a little nervous about taking a bath, which a weak jump overcall invites, then you can compromise by just overcalling at the 1 level, and no harm done, and you still get your suit in. So I think I'm going to change my mind on this one, and support Levin's choice of 1 spade.
Yes, that's true, Bill. That it's safer to bid 1 spade. On the other hand, you don't preempt your left-hand opponent by overcalling 1 spade, whereas you do if you bid 2 spades.
I'm assuming it's the
Yep,
Jack of spades, Bill?
Sorry, with the Jack of spades?
With the Jack of spades instead of a small spade, you would have been a 2 spade bidder, would you?
Yeah, it's so much less likely that I'm going to get penalised when I've got Queen Jack 10 of spades that jack is a key card, because if North has got it, together with some other spades, well, bingo, from North's point of view, there's your penalty situation. But if North has got ace fourth or ace king fourth or something like that, without the spots, it's much less attractive to take a try for a penalty. So the jack of spades is a crucial card for sure.
Yeah, and two spades could of course be intermediate in their methods, vulnerable. And even if it isn't, I mean, you should have a decent hand, shouldn't you, when you jump to two spades, vol against not, opposite a pass partner? I think so.
Well, I don't think it's the actual hand. I think it's the number of playing tricks you've got, for me anyway. And I'm sort of in agreement with Bill. I think two spades is a bit out there, vulnerable, but I would probably do it.
And it has been confirmed that they play intermediate jump over cores, red against white. So he isn't even close to two spades.
I mean, there is a case, Roland, especially if you're playing intermediate jump over calls for Levin just to pass. It's very unlikely to be their hand after partner's passed, and why tell the opponents a little bit about the distribution? I know I'd have one supporter in the audience, Victor Silverstone. I'm sure he wouldn't dream of bidding with the West cards.
So what is going to happen here? Terra will have to lose one more diamond, but no club.
Yes, I think you'll make 11 tricks easily enough, taking the heart finesse. Doesn't seem to be any real risk involved. There's a good play of South to duck the diamond completely, because he didn't really want to go Queen, King, Ace, then Jack and another, starting to attack his trump holding.
Also, Bill, the chances that East would maybe have the single from ace of diamonds.
Oh, true. Didn't think of that. Good point. Still, Mech covered the diamond. That's perhaps a tad surprising.
Not quite clear why covering the diamond would, unless you think the West has led from the ace queen, would actually be a good thing to do. I suppose he's thinking that he can set up the diamond suit without having to worry about the black suits. If he covers the queen of diamonds, he can afford to lose two diamonds and a heart. So currently Sweden are losing to Bulgaria, and Japan, with their small lead here, have just overtaken USA, but only by a very small margin, to move into 8th place.
This is how you score your King of Hearts on the side. You just lead away.
I think the Declarer must have thought Levin needed the King of Hearts for his overcall. That's all I can really think of there, and tried to drop it Singleton.
Yes, they may not be able to afford this, just tossing imps. And you don't have to. Was there any risk involved in taking the finesse? No. I mean, you couldn't go down.
No, I think he was just playing for taking his best chance for the overtrick. He wasn't playing safe. He just thought West would have the King of Hearts, having bid a topless spade suit, and have just the Queen of Diamonds.
So this looks like a good result for North-South in the other room.
Yep. It is a very good result. Not obvious at all to get to 4 hearts.
Well, there's some that might even just close their eyes and overcall 4 hearts after opposite a past partner and avoid spade. Very, very aggressive action that would be.
Yeah. My eyes would be scrunched very closed. I would hardly dare open them. I don't think it's a 4-heart bid. Maybe not vulnerable, you might consider it.
At the other table, after the double, Mech did 1-no trump. Alerted. Probably showing clubs. Guessing again. But he did. West bid 2 spades.
Yeah, and that encouraged Rodwell to bid 4 because with 3 small clubs and his partner having clubs, his hand has suddenly improved quite a lot. The King of Diamonds behind the 1 diamond opener.
Yeah, but this won't encourage North, you see. Question is whether it's wise to do that when you know that right-hand opponent has spades, at least 4 of them.
Okay, Roland.
Well, anyway.
This is right. I think they're playing redouble over the double of spades, and 1 spade is clubs. You know, this is a lot of people are playing this, but 5 clubs does look a big bid. You'd think you'd want to keep hearts in the picture.
Yeah, but even if it shows clubs, why would you want to jump to 5 clubs with that hand? I would bid 4 hearts now that partner has values. I mean, ace, king, queen, 10 to 6. I don't need much support, do I? I mean, even opposite the Singleton, I want to play the hand in 4 hearts.
Well, let's be clear about this. 4 hearts is a completely atrocious contract. It's got no play whatsoever if they lead a trump. So let's not necessarily crime the Japanese for getting to 5 clubs here.
No, but playing against you, Bill, I would never get a trump lead. And you know it. Although you might have changed your mind over the years. I remember 6, 7 years ago where you said, well,
And 11 tricks.
Well, it started diamond lead to the ace and trump switch, and then I kind of stopped looking. But even then I I think it's shorter trick, isn't it? Maybe not. 6 hearts, 7, 8. No, there's 10 tricks now. You have to lead a trump, I guess. I don't know about the 11th trick. Maybe they went up with the club too quickly.
Okay, so it
Well,
looks
okay.
like he's at least one trick short here.
Well, yeah. Well, okay, so 4 hearts can be defeated on a trump lead.
Yeah, I think it has to be the trump.
But that doesn't change my mind. I still think it's wrong to bet 5 clubs with that hand.
In the crunch match of this round, Australia are leading Denmark 4-0 after 4 boards.
Yeah, Australia has a very capable goalkeeper there, keeping a clean sheet.
Now Denmark have just scored 8, Roland, so they've gone into the lead.
Oh, right. What a striker we have. He scored 8 goals in one board. But Denmark has an outside chance, I suppose. They need 3 big wins. 3 17s, I think, roughly at least 50 VPs. That might not even be enough, but I think that's what they need to stand any chance.
Look at this hand from Levin's perspective. He's not expecting North to have only 3 clubs. Probably expects South to have Ace Doubleton club. So East to have Ace Doubleton club, Weinstein to have Ace Doubleton. He's wondering how to defeat this contract.
They both think that Declara has 4 clubs. So Weinstein thinks that Bartlett is out of clubs.
So going back to the auction, at both tables South showed their clubs, or in the other room Mextroff bid won the trump to show clubs, and this room South bid a spade to show clubs. But the difference in the swing will be caused by the fact how North reacted to that. In the closed room, in the other room, Rodwell jumped to 4 hearts, but here Tanaka bid 5 clubs. I mean, I quite like the actual actions by South, both showing clubs, because spades was unlikely to be a good suit to show, given that your opponent had already shown the suit by doubling a heart.
going 2 down, isn't it? Well, what a surprise for Weinstein here to see a club from partner. Now he knows for sure it's down, because they have a spade to cash, of course. But the funny thing is that if he plays a spade, it'll only go 1 down. It's actually better to play a heart.
He knew that it was getting roughed because of the negative double. So I think it was a piece of misdirection on where the cards lie. I think it was an interesting little piece of deception.
Okay, not a suit preference signal. Maybe he was trying to tell partner he definitely had the, the ace of diamonds, but I imagine if it was suit preference, you'd think it was hearts.
Yes, well, suit preference is a good thought, but of course that wasn't consistent with his ace. So I guess going for the false card was perhaps what his thinking was there.
So we've got a good result at the other table for USA, where North Rodwell made 2 diamonds, doubled up 1. Looks like there was a misunderstanding, the meaning of the double by East at the other table. West obviously thought it was penalties, and East obviously thought it was just cards.
Just so happy that you didn't comment on the 2 diamond opening.
Well, I'm sort of looking at the auction at the other table as well, Roland. I mean, East responded to spade. If that was natural, it looked incredibly strange for West not to have supported spades and sat for a penalty double in his eyes at 2 diamonds. Maybe 1 spade was just like a forcing no trump. Does anybody know?
No idea.
I'll check the card. Oh, I can't check the card, can I? Different players.
It does look a really weird auction at the other table to me.
Well, East double at the other table was just card showing, wasn't it? And West thought it was penalty.
Yeah, but Roland, the strange thing is if East responded to spade natural, why would West not support spades?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it was a shocker, and it just shows how sensible that Flannery auction was that they had at this table.
I think you're in danger, Bill, of being ejected by Roland.
Are you really trying to get me out of this, Bill? You really want me to sign off? You're trying hard, and you may succeed.
Now all we need is a nice Gerber auction.
I can see you two boys need to have a game, and I can produce the convention card that you'll both have to play.
We did have a game many years ago on BBO, didn't we, Bill? That
Absolutely.
yeah. I told you about the multi-landing convention. I remember that clearly. And then you came back to me. You said, "Well, my wife plays that already." I had no idea.
Yes, and the end of that story was that she called it reverse Capoletti, which I found amusing.
So how's he getting on here in three spades?
Well, they can take a club rough, so should go one down, shouldn't it?
Well, they can take
three
club tricks now when he wins the King of Hearts and switches to the Jack of Clubs.
Yeah, same thing. So it should go one down. But a good board for USA regardless. 6 imps. 280 in the other room.
Getting back to what Peter Lund was saying yesterday, the actual finishing positions in the round robin are really quite crucial. For example, finishing fourth in the Bermuda Bowl, assuming the USA1 team finishes in the qualifiers and finishes somewhere between 5th and 8th, will almost certainly mean you play USA1, while finishing 5th might mean you'd miss USA1. So while I'm not expecting any teams to be doing anything to try and achieve 5th rather than 4th, it may well be better to finish 5th rather than 4th.
Yeah, if you finish 5th and USA 1 finishes 6, 7 or 8, you will still not play them, Bill? Sorry, Peter. I mean, you can't play against a team from the same half.
No, my point, Roland, was that if you finish 5th, it's probably better than finishing 4th. If USA
Absolutely.
1 finished 6th, 7th or 8th.
Absolutely. 4th is not nice because you're left with the strongest opponent after 1st, 2nd and 3rd have made their picks. Right, so West made a courtesy race of 2 diamonds in the other room. I'm not too fond, I have to say. I wouldn't bid again. But West did here also. I don't think he bid 3 diamonds because there might be a game on. Maybe he wanted to just preempt his left-hand opponent, North, not to come in with 2 spades in case he wanted to do that. On the other hand, if he has a spade suit, he would have overcalled already. So I'm not so sure about 3 diamonds, but they bid it at those tables.
I'm with you, Roland. I don't like three diamonds very much. Admittedly, you've got 10 points, but you've got no aces. You've got enough in a defensive hand enough to not particularly fear the opponent's balancing.
Clara trying to get a spade away. He will get a spade away, but the heart will be roughed by South. But then as you know, now the king is singleton, and the poor man has no entry to the dummy to take a diamond finesse. So he has to cash the ace from hand.
Well, Roland, North can play a fourth heart to promote his partner's king of diamonds. They can cash their black suit tricks now, and then play the fourth heart.
They can indeed. So they can defeat this by force.
One of the spectators is suggesting that maybe Weinstein would have cashed the ace of diamonds before he played 3 hands of hearts, but there's nothing to stop North having king X of diamonds and South having 2 small diamonds.
And now the heart will promote the king of diamonds, and the contract should go 1 down. Pitching a spade still won't help. Then they can take ace of spades and play another heart. Sorry to disappoint Bill, of course, at this point. Australia were leading 4-0. It's now 23-4.
I'm strong. I can handle this.
That means Denmark is 17 VPs behind qualifying, Roland, so if they could put on a few more against Australia and win big in their last 2 matches, they still would have an outside chance.
Yeah, but I doubt it. USA 1 to play against Guadeloupe in the next round. So, unlikely.
I think Japan urgently needs some swings in these last 7 hands. This is it for them. They can't afford to drop too much further behind.
In the women's, Danish supporters will be happy to see that Denmark is leading by 12 VPs from second, and that's a lot. But they had to play against the Netherlands and USA1 in the last 2 rounds.
Another unusual auction at the other table. If you look at the East cards, I don't think most of us would consider that a pass, but that's what East did at the other table. South opened a precision style 2 diamonds, short in diamonds. North relayed, found out what he needed to know, and probably I think 3 clubs just showed any minimum, and 4 hearts therefore was the obvious choice of contract.
Yes, well done there. The King of Diamonds was no good, and it's a really good idea to give partner a little bit of leeway in these preempted auctions. The breaks are going to be bad typically, so I think even without looking at the entire hand, I think North did the right thing to not get too excited on the board.
Bill, you subscribe to the rule of 2 and 3. So do I, by the way. So 3 diamonds would be too much for you. The 7 losers.
Yeah, I'd wimp it out. I think vulnerable. What about you, Peter?
I think Roland knows my view on this. I'll be in my bath chair before I could pass the East cards.
Clear 3 diamond opener for Peter at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can tell you. You call him and ask what are you going to do with this hand. 3 diamonds, good night.
So what are your guidelines, Peter? What makes you, what mechanism do you use? Or put another way, how much do I have to weaken that hand so that you will no longer open to 3 diamonds?
Well, Peter plays a 3-4
put one of the hearts into a club. Put one of the hearts into club, and I think it's now dubious. I don't like 7-2-2-2 hands. Maybe give me the Jack of Diamonds instead of the Queen with the same shape. Now I probably wouldn't, but only because I'm vulnerable.
I actually agree with Bill, but I will make an exception, Bill. If you give me the Jack of Diamonds also, I think I will, although I'm a trick short. According to the rule of 2 and 3, I think I would. Ace, Queen, Jack to 7 is good enough.
Well, I think both you guys have made excellent points about how you can't just go with the arithmetic. I mean, I am a devotee of the rule of 2 and 3, but it's a guideline. It's the first step I take in determining whether to open a preempt. And Peter's point about the 7-2-2 and your point about Roland about the Jack of Diamonds, they don't affect the counting of the rule of 2 and 3, but they do materially affect the strength of the hand. And I'm with you, certainly, Roland. I would open 3 diamonds if I had the Jack of Diamonds.
So two hearts here. I'm confirming with their sort of style before when they opened 2 spades on King, Queen, 9, 8 to 5 spades. I mean, the South hand is not a typical weak 2 for me, and I will open with a 5-card suit if playing those methods. But this hand is far too strong and not suitable.
Another Meckwell 3-0, 24 combined. Well, that's a very good 3-0 for them. Obviously it can be defeated, but it's very difficult.
Well, very difficult to defeat with South as declarer, and very easy to defeat probably as with North as declarer.
Yeah, but it did get a spade lead, didn't it? But South inserted the 10.
East,
sorry. And let it make. So now declarer has had enough tricks.
Well, to be honest, even if South played the king, he wasn't beating it, was he?
well, he was, because the Queen drops Doubleton.
Oh yes, sorry.
But the 8 was led. That's a hard card to read, isn't it?
Indeed, the 8 isn't easy. It would be for me playing with Peter Lund, because we do lead the 8, promising 1 higher. So that would either be the Queen or the 8.
I think back to this table, as being noted on the text commentary, a great lead by Levin.
Well, a great lead because it worked. Finding partner with Queen X and dummy with King Jack. Yep, wonderful. I wish you wouldn't say that, Peter. I mean, I have students in the audience, and I preach, and I preach again. Don't underlead aces against suit contracts. And then...
Sorry, Roland, when I said great, I meant great on the hand. I wasn't suggesting you should always lead a low diamond, although I don't mind it, with North likely to have the strength.
But it doesn't matter what I say anyway, because they counter with, well, they do it on V-graph all the time. Well, not all the time, but sometimes. So if they can do it, surely I can do it. Then I counter with, well, when you're good enough to be on V-graph, then you can do it as well. So, well, Japan basically out of contention now, unless something extraordinary happens. Yeah, very good for USA1, of course, before playing Guadeloupe, and then they'll probably have no problem going into the last round. Pretty sure of qualifying by then.
So here, East-West only have 20 high card points, yet they are cold with on the layout for 4 spades. Bill and Roland, what would you bid with the South cards now?
Only 2 hearts. But I don't mind 3. I know you would bid 3, Peter.
No, I wouldn't, Roland, actually. I would bid 3 if I wasn't at this vulnerability. How about you, Bill?
Um, yeah, I would wimp it. I would only bid 2. It's a hand that only its mother could love, really.
That's a great comment, Bill. I don't like the king of diamonds, do you, with the 1 diamond bid on your left? You really got to act to 4 hearts in all likelihood. Although this hand, partner has the ace of diamonds, it's unlikely.
Also, I mean, just being devil's advocate here, I've got no defence. I don't actually want the opponents to bid to a high spade contract. And it seems to me that 3 hearts is the sort of bid advertising weakness and length in hearts that that will stimulate the auction to them getting there. So for example, on this hand, Weinstein, who's got a completely wasted king queen of hearts, couldn't possibly consider passing the voluntary 3 spades bid. And anyway, he knows, or he pretty much certainly knows, that his partner's void in hearts. Now take a 2 heart bid, which gets 2 spades from 11, pass. Now Weinstein thinks, well, partner's probably got a singleton heart. I'm not vulnerable. I've kind of not got a great hand. I'm not saying he would have passed, but he would have considered just playing it in 2 spades.
A good point.
I agree with you, Bill, with a lot of that. I think 3 hearts is not a great bid. However, the one thing I would maybe query is that if 1 spade promised 5 by Weinstein, and I don't know if that would be the case, then Levin might have bumped to 3 spades over 2 hearts anyway. I know he's only got a 10 count, but he's got 2 aces, strong intermediates, and a void. But only if 1 spade promises 5.
I imagine they probably would have got there after a 2 heart bid. But the point is still valid, I think, as far as it goes. That sometimes if you don't want them to bid because you've got a very flattish hand, then don't advertise weakness and length in your fit.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point, Bill.
The reason I won't bid 3 hearts, it's not so much that I fear a penalty double, because that doesn't happen. So I don't agree with Victor here that it's dangerous, but it may persuade the opponents to bid a game they wouldn't otherwise bid if I hadn't jumped to 3 hearts. I believe that was a summary of what you said before, Bill.
Yep, absolutely.
Also looking good, pretty good now for the English ladies. They're in 8th, but they are 23 VPs ahead of Poland in 9th. Do you have the fixtures, Bill, for the last 2 rounds? England ladies? I think they have a week.
Just a moment, Roland, I'll grab them.
Yeah, I meant to ask Peter, actually, because... sorry, well, I could do it myself.
Venezuela, USA2.
Yeah. So one weakish opponent and one strong.
I think they'll be hoping that after Venezuela, if they're playing them next, that they'll be in a position where the USA2 match will not matter in terms of qualification, but obviously they need to be wary about if they ended up playing USA2, if USA2 was to pick them, that they wouldn't have a deficit in the match.
Yeah, but that would be difficult for them to avoid anyway. If Denmark finished first, they would probably go for England, where they have the maximum carryover.
It's quite interesting, isn't it, Roland, with the English ladies? They sometimes, or quite often, struggle in the qualification, but they then seem to sort of do much better in the knockout stage. So maybe teams will be wary of that.
Well, absolutely. Now Meckwell have a great set in the other room. I mean, has so many good results.
So here 2 spades was chosen at both tables as an opening bid. At this table, South decided to pass. At the other table, Mextov boosted to 3 spades. What do you think of 2 spades?
Good bid. Mind you, South here is pretty happy with his pass. He's sort of thinking, oh, yes, I don't mind defending 3 diamonds on this hand.
Well, that's assuming that Levin is through, because I imagine 3 diamonds is Levin's soul for them.
So implying some values.
Yeah. Well, we could, of course, discuss the merits and the danger of opening 2 spades with a decent 4-card major on the side. Some never do it. Some don't care. What about you? Do you care at all? Or does it depend on how strong the 4-card suit is?
Yes, I think you've got to look at the suit qualities, both the major, both your open suit, and particularly if it's the other major, and the 4-card major that you're sort of giving up on. I'm not fanatical about never opening a week 2 with a side 4-card major. I think it's perfectly acceptable on this particular hand, because whilst it carries a risk of missing a big contract in the other major, you gain the benefits of the preemption. So it's a balance sheet thing.
Now looking at this, Weinstein needs to cover with the Jack of Spades.
Is that enough? It will block the spade suit, but can't they counter with hearts?
Yeah, no, they can just cover it and play a low spade. I don't think the spade suit's blocked, if the defence can see all the hands and know what's going on.
Of course, Norse may think that this is a doubleton 10, since partner didn't raise spades. Maybe he only has 2, and then he may be reluctant to play a low spade. No. Well, not now, it's down for sure, obviously.
Okay, 2 down now.
So I think the spade back was absolutely correct in theory, because it's not as though there was another defence that looked attractive. So might as well go for the good news, 10-9x, or at the very least 10-9 Doubleton, rather than speculate on a switch to some other suit.
Well, aren't we down to down 1 now? When North pitched the spade. Yeah, we are. Now the Cara will play diamonds, and they can take it 1 down only, because North threw a trick when he threw the 2 of spades.
Maybe North was sort of slightly surprised that South hadn't raised the 3 spades.
Indeed.
I've got a question from a spec of whether we play the Lebensol style where 2-no trump shows a weak hand and new suit at the 3 level is therefore constructive. I do play it that way. What about you guys?
I play it the same. Some reverse it, but it's easier for me to remember that a direct bid shows values.
I'm afraid I don't play Lebensol, but I do play some convoluted rubbish, which is not very suitable for the audience.
Got an MA 15 plus rating, does it, Peter?
Yeah, you wouldn't really want to know, Bill, I can promise you. My partners don't always want to know as well.
I don't think we have ever heard the term convoluted rubbish on Videograph before. Well put, Peter.
So here, Mextroff, so Rodwell made 4 spades up 3 at the other table. Looks a very good result, looking at the North-South cards.
It's a pretty fair slam, isn't it? But it's pretty tough to bid after an opening bid on by East.
Not such a great slam, is it, I suppose, on a trump lead?
No.
I suppose if it's a trump lead, you've probably got no trump losers, but you still need clubs 3-2 or something happening. I suppose you can rough out the diamonds, can't you? That's the big plus.
Actually, I was thinking of a contract of 6 clubs.
Yeah. How bad is 6
Okay,
clubs?
yeah, Phil, that's much better.
How bad is 6 clubs?
6 clubs, much better.
Well, it's a good slam. Well, good. Well, you need clubs
You
3.
might need both black suits 3-2.
Yes.
Oh, I think you would. I wouldn't want to have a 4-1 break anywhere. I'm going to reverse my position and say it's a possible 6 clubs.
Okay,
They
so
never bid.
yeah, an unusual treatment by South over Weinstein's 1 diamond, which I think promises free in their efforts to play 2 diamonds is natural. You don't often see 2 diamonds as natural over a diamond unless the diamond is precision.
Yeah, it's normally 4 plus. I think it's only 3. If they're dealt 4-4-3-2.
Yeah, I think you're right, Roland, but you don't often see people playing 2 diamonds as a natural overcall against that, do you? Certainly not the method I would play.
No. clubs were never mentioned in the other room. Then again, they had no room really. 1 diamond by east, pass from south, 3 hearts, preemptive, natural. Rodwell overcalls 3 spades, and Mac had to just raise to 4. Here they had the opportunity, but South decided to sign off in 4 spades.
So given our conversation about the opening 3 diamonds a bit earlier, I'm sure you two don't particularly like the 3 heart bid that West chose at the other table.
No, it's a little different because my partner opened, right? But you're right.
Yeah, I think it is different.
But you're right.
General views would seem that you wouldn't particularly like that. I don't mind it as much as perhaps you two do because I've got the Queen of Diamonds, but still it wouldn't have been a bid I'd have chosen.
I think
But 2 hearts is a good bid, isn't it, if you play weak jump responses?
Yeah, I was going to say that. Isn't that a perfect hand for a weak jump shift into 2 hearts? 1 diamond, 2 hearts?
Yeah, I think so. I think it looks what you would put in a textbook as a traditional 2 heart bid. Maybe nearly as good as you can be. I mean, some people played it like 3 to 6. Some people a bit less.
Yeah, but perhaps it could be a little more. This is a problem if you have an invitational hand playing weak jump shifts. You need a rebid of your major. If you respond 1 of the major, to rebid 2 hearts now to be invitational, and invitational would be around 9 to 11, right? So 2 hearts should really be wide ranging, don't you think? Like 3 to 8, 4 to 8.
Is that what you play, Roland? I mean, I don't play weak jump shifts, but do you play this 3 to 8?
I played with Peter, 3 to 8, and then 1 heart followed by 2 hearts is 9, 11.
North making sure of his 10th trick. Now he'll make 11 when the jack drops. Sorry, he'll make 12 when the jack drops and the clubs are 3-2.
Do you mind jumping to 2-note trumps with a worthless doubleton and spades, or would you bid something else? Talking about a normal standard system where you have 18, 19 balanced. I agree with you, Bill. You show the nature of my hand. It's balanced, 18-19. And I don't fancy the alternatives. What if partner raises hearts?
Well, one heart was alerted, so maybe they have some sort of squiggle here. Hang on, I've got their system card. Let me have a look.
I'm not disagreeing with either of you, but I suspect South's got that warm glow of feeling that maybe he's done the right thing by getting partner to play no trumps here. Not that it mattered on this hand.
Yeah, 6 diamonds, it's not great. You need the man with 3 diamonds to have club length.
Well, he needs to have 4 clubs, I think, Roland, doesn't he?
Yes,
No, only 3 clubs, you're right, only 3 clubs.
that's 3. But if you're desperate for points, then there was an opportunity. Remember that the players don't know the score, of course. They don't know until they score up after board 16. So I don't think the Japanese in this room think that they're behind by 24, do you think? I just think the Mackerel has a great set in the other room.
Yeah, it's leaked. I don't think the Japanese players here would be too happy because I can't think of a single of a swing really. You know, they snuck through 2 no trumps, which on an earlier board, which was the source of their imps. But you know, it's depressing when your opponents keep doing the right thing. I mean, they ought to make a few mistakes and allow you to benefit from them, and I don't see that Levin and Weinstein have done anything wrong here. Although they did let a part score slip through at some point, didn't they? That was the 2 no trump contract, yes.
Now USA1 now 15 VPs ahead of Japan, so looking good. They will qualify, I predict. Remember, they're playing Guadeloupe next, so I think they will have qualified before the last round.
Well, I'm disappointed to see that England are only 9 imps clear of Guadeloupe at the moment. Still some of the match to score. I was hoping that they would win a bit more convincingly than that. Let's hope they can get a few more imps from my perspective on the last few boards.
So as I understand it, Guadeloupe is in the Caribbean, and I think there's some expat French guys that play for them. Have I got that right?
I think you're right. Guadeloupe is French, right? The official flag of Guadeloupe is the tricolor.
So since they always seem to play in these events, and probably with the same players, they're probably quite an experienced team. So that begs the question, who will the USA1 team field in that second match?
in my opinion, Bill, they can't afford to try and get cute. They've only got 2 rounds to go. They're currently sitting in, is it 8th position?
2.
Yes, I agree. I think they should go with their top lineup today, unless there are some genuine.
I don't believe it. But I do believe in thanking our operator for a great job. You haven't noticed him at all, which means that he has been extremely good. It's the same as a football referee, soccer referee. If you can't remember his name afterwards, it's because he's been extremely good. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Peter. Thanks to the organizers and BBO, of course, for providing the platform. Thanks to our listeners for coming this early morning in Europe, even earlier in USA, getting later in Australia, of course, 5:30 in the afternoon there. We hope you had a fun time and that you will be back for the resumption next round in about 1.5 hours. And we have planned a voice for Poland versus England in the Bermuda Bowl. Thank you.
Thank you, Roland. And Peter, enjoyed it. And we'll see you later.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Roland. This is just going to be a flat board, I think, in 4 hearts.
Why are they having a break for so long in India, I'm asked? Because remember that in India now it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so lunchtime. So that's just normal. Maybe not the greatest set to have watched, but I think it has some interesting points. Poland, of course, hoping to finish first. They're 1 VP behind Bulgaria at the moment. So that's a very important match for them as well against England in the next round. They all want to finish high up so that they can get a pick of opponent. Preferably in first place, obviously, where you get first pick among teams finishing 5th to 8th. But even second isn't bad. Thanks everyone, and goodbye for now. See you in 1.5 hours.